I hope you noticed on your way into breakfast all those gentlemen out there in the other dining room. Yes, golfers, exactly. They are here from Buffalo. They are here from Cleveland. They are here from, I spoke to one who was all the way from Dayton and another who had come all the way from Florida. I happen to be a member of this course, and I'm very proud of this course. If you'd like to stay after breakfast and play a round of golf, I know just the person back there who could arrange that. Just let me know, and we'll take care of that. But that aside, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the 16th annual meeting of the Oil Region Alliance of Business, Industry, and Tourism on what is, I believe I'm correct, Lee, the first full day of autumn, right? The first full day of autumn. The first item of business is to approve the minutes of our last annual meeting, and that's the meeting that took place on September the 19th of 2019. I believe you either received those minutes by email or you may have hard copies of them there at your respective tables. In any case, I would entertain a motion to the effect that we accept and approve those minutes as they have been submitted. Thank you very much, Mr. Jimmy Johnson. Let the record show Jimmy Johnson makes the motion. Do I hear a second? I let the record show that His Honor Mayor William Moon makes the second. All in favor of the motion, please signify with an aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. John?
Okay. Of course, it's been a rather trying 2 years, and I think Nelson Mandela said it best. Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up. And I think it's been that type of year. We've all been living through this pandemic. We have lived it very close to ourselves with loved ones, with businesses that I work with and friends that own those businesses, big companies, small entrepreneurs, and it has been challenging. But I will also say that it is a fantastic opportunity. And through those 2 years, the Alliance has been able to carry on our mission with our vital partners. And usually I run down through a list of achievements that we've done, but I will say that I do like the format of one of our partners a little better. So I asked Emily Altamar to put a little something together for my president's report, and so I will give that credit to Susan Williams because I like the format of her meetings. So it will hopefully be entertaining and you guys will enjoy it. So Dan, please give her a whirl. So if that doesn't work, you get to hear me go blah, 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 as you are all dying to hear me do that. Our technology is sometimes a little sketchy. Contrary to what you might think, we really do have our act together. So. I was gonna have to put on break out my guitar. Thank you, guys, and thank you to my team, albeit it is always not just perfect, but it is a really good demonstration and a really much better president's report than I could just give verbally. One thing that did get cut off, I will say that actually tomorrow, the installation of the Franklin Visitor Center will be at the Franklin Chamber of Commerce, and that work will be done starting tomorrow. The group is coming in and the fabrication is all done, and they'll be installing it right before Applefest. So hopefully that goes very smoothly. Some of my team will be down there at the Franklin Chamber of Commerce tomorrow. So, okay, now the fun stuff. Hopefully you guys have gone through your brochure, and first of all, I'd like to thank the sponsors of breakfast and this event. They're all in your brochure. Please check them out, but hopefully you were able to see the bio of our guest speaker. I first met Amy in 2008. Her and her colleague came into the Alliance and were talking about how they were introducing a program through some various sponsorships and a very set and determined way to help communities enhance themselves with economic development, to take advantage of their bicycle trails particularly, but outdoor recreation in general. One thing I noticed about Amy was her very sharp wit, but most importantly, her dedication to what she really believes in. And this program was I would just say a linchpin, hopefully for her, but she has gone on to expand herself with entrepreneurism in her own consulting work, and now she gets to help many communities and states, and I believe even internationally. So we are very privileged to have Amy available to come and talk to you all a little bit about what we believe is a very strong direction for us all to go and that we've been going in, and hopefully she'll solidify that with you a little bit. But would you please give a warm Oil Region welcome to Miss Amy Camp.
Good morning. Okay. How's this? Yeah? Okay. Dan, if you don't mind with the slides, how's everyone doing today?
Good, thank you.
Yeah? Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you, John and Kim and Barry. I really appreciate being here, and I appreciate your partnership and all of the great work that you're doing in the oil region. I live in Pittsburgh. You saw a slide about the Erie to Pittsburgh Trail, so I feel very much connected by way of trail and for other reasons as well to this area. I have, I think, about 25 minutes today. If I get to 20, oh, your eyes did something when I said that. Is that okay? If I get to 20, Kim or John, if you can let me know, I'll make sure that I finish on time here. So we're going to be talking today about how communities have permission to thrive. I'm going to be talking about trails and communities, and whenever I was first invited, it was in the context of trails and communities in a post-COVID economy. Well, we're still in it a little bit, but I think I still have a few things to say about where we are headed. But I'd like to start. Let's see here. I'm just not advancing, so these things, they always work whenever you are before the meeting starts. I might need some assistance with advancing slides. Thank you so much. I'd like to start with Hamilton. Are there any Hamilton fans here this morning? Oh yeah, I see some hands. So those of you who know the song about the Battle of Yorktown, One of the most crucial battles of the Revolutionary War, probably the most crucial battle. You know how that song goes. The song builds and builds just like a battle might, and there's lots of drama and tension, and then finally near the end, when the battle has ended, the ensemble sings the words, "The world turned upside down." And they repeat it, "The world turned upside down, the world turned upside down." If I could carry a tune, I would sing it for you. But the most powerful global empire had just surrendered the battle that would ultimately end the war. The world had turned upside down. And I've thought a lot about that refrain over the last 18 months. In March of last year, when COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic and Governor Wolf issued stay-at-home orders, it very much felt like the world had turned upside down. In fact, just the other day I heard someone saying our lives were turned upside down. And I knew he was talking about COVID without needing any context. If I can take you back to March of last year, schools were closed, non-essential businesses were closed, people were stocking their pantries and sanitizing their groceries. Restaurants were just hanging on by a thread. We weren't going to concerts or movies or to our local coffee shops. On a personal note, my travel was all canceled, and I claimed unemployment in the month of April last year. Life had become drastically different. And I say none of this to make any sort of a political point. It's just a recognition that similar to how the world shifted with America's independence, our world changed as the result of the pandemic. Slide, please, Dan. This is a sculpture called "The World Turned Upside Down." And I thought you all would like to see that. That's in London, and there is a connection to Hamilton with that as well. So what we did have, slide, last year was access to nature and the time to enjoy it. We had trails, rivers and lakes, mountains and backyard bonfires, and the pandemic resulted in a mass rediscovery of the outdoors. We have known for centuries that being outside in nature contributes to health and wellness. Lots of things happen. Our blood pressure goes down, our stress hormones decrease, our creativity increases. And in 2019, research published in the journal Scientific Reports even told us how much time we need to spend outside each week to reap those benefits of being in nature. Does anyone have any guess of how much time you need to spend outside in a week to reap the benefits? Just throw some numbers out. 20 hours a week, okay? 3 hours a week. Anyone else? 10 hours a week. 2 hours, 120 minutes. Slide, please. That's all we need. A lot of us want to be out there a lot more than that, though. And so beginning in March of last year, a lot of people now had the time and desperately needed the healing qualities of the outdoors. But even then, we weren't sure whether we could contract the virus while being outside. There was so much we didn't know. Was it airborne? Could we pick it up by touching a park bench or a swing set? There were studies about people's respiratory signatures and how long your air droplets stay in the air when you're biking and running and walking. There was a lot we were just trying to figure out at that time. Slide. It's no wonder there were articles with headlines like, "Is it okay to take a walk?" This is all to say that life did change last year rather significantly, and that includes for trails in the outdoor economy. Today I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about how the mass rediscovery of the outdoors impacted Pennsylvania trails and the trail economy. Second, I'm going to talk about ways communities can better connect to and benefit from trails. And then finally, I'm going to talk about the importance of aspiring for thriving communities. Slide. But let's start with that mass rediscovery of the outdoors and how that impacted Pennsylvania trails. Slide. Early in the pandemic, the Pennsylvania Environmental Council hired me to research the impact of the pandemic on trails. And so what our team did was we surveyed trail managers in the spring and again in the fall. And we talked to them and learned from them about what they were experiencing right there on their trails, because they know trails better than any of us. We also looked at electronic counts and tried to understand what was happening, and to measure what was happening with trail use. But those managers, they shared stories of overflowing trails and parking lots, increases in litter and illegal uses, stories of I told you that part already, delayed maintenance, delayed construction, losses in revenues to their trail organizations. And they were saying things like, slide, every day is like a weekend day now. Slide, please. And the trail is busy all the time, every day. I mean, there was a huge uptick in trail use, and it's not just about trails. It's going down to your river. It's going to your state game lands. People were getting back to the outdoors. Slide. And trail counts confirm these sentiments. The Rails to Trails Conservancy reported that in the early weeks of the pandemic, trail use surged by 200%. And throughout 2020, use was up 51% over the previous year. Slide. The counters in Pennsylvania, these are the ones that we analyzed, they were generally consistent with this as well. You can see that increase in March and April, and then there was a little bit of a decrease throughout the year, but the numbers were still up over 2018 and 2019. So whether this increase was a good thing depended upon the type of trail you manage, its location, your organization's ability and capacity to handle the increased use, and even your personal outlook as a trail manager. So we did survey the managers on their perceptions. We wanted to know what the people closest to trails thought about what was happening. If you could go to the next slide. So here's what they thought. 60% of them in the spring thought that the pandemic's impact on trails was mostly positive. Only 17% of them across the entire state thought that it was mostly negative. And by the fall, when we surveyed them again, 75% thought it was mostly positive, suggesting that some of their early concerns had been alleviated by that time. The perception varied based on length. If you had a longer trail that was a destination type trail, you were losing tourism. You were losing, visitors coming to visit your trail. If you had a natural surface trail, it probably was suffering from having way too many feet on the trail as compared to a rail trail, which could handle increases in use. If you were in one of the state's most populated areas, the overcrowding was a real concern for people. I'm happy to say that trail managers here in Northwest Pennsylvania reported the most positive outlook in both the spring and the fall surveys. I haven't had a chance to talk with any of you in great detail about this, but I would feel comfortable saying that increased trail use in this area was a positive thing. So a couple of other things on this slide. Managers also told us that trails were being perceived as positive outlets in their communities. 9 out of 10 managers told us that. And 80% of managers told us that they were seeing new people out on the trail, new demographics. And so for those of us who do work in trails, that's everything we've always wanted. We got it all at once, but it's everything that we always wanted, was getting more and new people out to enjoy nature. Slide, please. It's worth noting that the pandemic's impact on the outdoor economy wasn't entirely clear. Bike shops, which were deemed essential businesses because bikes serve as a form of transportation, were swamped all year long. However, just as they were as busy as they had ever been, there were other trail-serving businesses that were struggling to keep afloat. If you can think of businesses like outfitters, shuttle services, B&Bs, and trailside cafes that normally rely upon visiting trail users, they lost a significant source of income last year. It picked up a little bit later in the season, but it was a tough year for obviously for a lot of reasons, but it was hard on the trail economy as well. Next slide. Among the kinds of problems that surfaced or were made worse last year, you're looking at them, overuse and crowding, trip cancellations, losses in revenues and sales taxes. Some trails even closed in more populated areas. There were definitely some hardships. So although trail managers' outlooks were generally positive, 2020 was a tough year to be caring for trails. Our report title was Increased Use, Added Strain, and a Newfound Appreciation. I think that tells the story pretty well. Trails, we concluded, need support now more than ever. Slide. One way to support trails at the community level is to adopt a trail town mentality, which is what I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes. First, though, let me say that despite a slowdown in travel, people have continued to visit the oil region throughout the pandemic. And I want to talk to you about one such couple. But first, if everyone in the room could raise your hand. Everyone. Okay, very good. Now, keep your hand up if you've ever written a letter to the editor. Okay. Continue to keep your hand up if it was positive in nature. Oh, wow, you are writing positive letters, except for John. Okay, one more. Continue to keep your hand up if you sent that letter to a publication located in a place that you've visited, meaning someplace other than your own local newspaper. A few hands. I see 3. Okay. So I have an aunt who lives in Franklin, Nancy Sheddick. Her son is Doug Fazell. Some of you might know him. She sent me a newspaper clipping earlier this year, and it's the letter to the editor is titled "Franklin Surrounding Area Leave Lasting Impression." Next slide. So this is the letter. Some of you probably saw it. I'm going to read it to you. She says, this is Mary Ann Padlick of Litchfield Park, Arizona. She says, my husband and I recently visited Franklin. We came from Arizona because of the bicycle trails. Oh, and because it is 102 degrees in Arizona. We rode both the Allegheny River Trail and the Samuel Justice Trail. It is clear that all the surrounding communities support the bike trails with the resources and volunteers. Signage was clear, and the trails are in great condition. We are enchanted with the area. Franklin is a delightful town. We ate at several local restaurants and stayed in a local hotel. The downtown Franklin is full of interesting shops and, in better times, local live theater. I understand that hiking trails are also abundant, not to mention boating and fishing. Although we did not visit surrounding towns, they all seem equally full of history and vibrancy. This outstanding recreation area is a well-kept secret, which will not be a secret much longer. We'll be back. Did anyone see that whenever it was? Yeah, lovely. Mary Ann lives 2,100 miles from this area, and she was so stricken by this place that she wrote that letter. It's letters like this that tell me that communities in the oil region have been doing great work in the realm of trail towns. Next slide. So some of you don't really know what a trail town is, but you are living in them. A trail town is a community through which, I can't really read that, it's just like a few feet too far away from me. It's a community through which a trail passes that supports trail users with services, promotes the trail to its residents, and embraces the trail as a resource to be protected and celebrated. If you're looking at the pyramid, you know, it's a town along a trail that embraces its trail and outdoor recreation at some level. And there's a trail economy that builds up around the trail. And most importantly, The community sees the trail as being integral to its identity. There's a pride of place. There's a pride of having, this, resource in your community. And that essentially is what it means to be a trail town. Slide. Another way of putting it, I heard somebody once say that to be a trail town is to make the decision to pay attention to trails. There's a decision at the community level and at the regional level to invest in them, to celebrate them and to promote them. Slide. And so John was talking about the Trail Town program that I worked for back in the mid-2000s. And that was a program that started along the Great Allegheny Passage in Somerset, Fayette, Westmoreland counties, Allegheny County. And that idea it was a program for rural, regional economic development that we were doing along that one trail. Well, that program has since been exported to at least 28 states, as well as to Ontario. The map, shows anything in green is where there's some kind of a trail town presence. Slide. Like I said, the first program started here in Pennsylvania. And after some years, the Progress Fund, which started the program, actually expanded to this area and did some trail town work in Franklin, Emlenton, Frostburg, maybe Titusville. So that's sort of like the origins of the program. Slide. As I said, it's a regional approach to economic development. Slide. And the numbers show that trails really do benefit regional economies. We were doing research, throughout the life of the program. There was research done before we even started, and you can see that there were like increases in economic impact attributed to that trail system over the years, and the numbers now, almost a decade later, have increased even more. Slide. But here's the thing, the economic piece is really important. It's the hook that gets people interested. It matters for our economy. Trails and tourism bring new life into our communities. But what I noticed over the years was an overemphasis on that one benefit, that economic benefit, and started to turn to thinking a little bit more broadly about the benefits of trails. Led mostly by this quote by Otto Leopold. He said, "A system of conservation based solely on economic self-interest is hopelessly lopsided." Slide. And so for that reason, I wrote Deciding on Trails, going back to the idea that communities face the decision to invest in trails. Go ahead with the slide. And in the book, I outline, and talk about the history of trail towns and what that has meant for communities around the country. And then I move into talking about best practices that I think communities can follow in order to better connect to and better benefit from their trails and better enjoy them. So those practices, I'm just going to quickly share them with you, are to adopt a shared vision throughout your community, to physically connect your trail to your town so that it's easier for people to move between the two and it's safer, and the invitation into your town is more alluring. Another one is to extend an invitation to this. Now I'm getting into the realm of hospitality, to make people feel welcome, both people coming into our communities as well as our townspeople going out to enjoy nature. Cultivate a trail culture is the fourth one, and that is, to me, the most important. It's like the one that holds up all of the others. If you don't have a culture that celebrates and enjoys trails, that I believe that economic benefit will be somewhat limited. You want to know your market, who's using your trails. You want to share your community story and commit to quality trails, because there are thousands of trails around the country. We have to make sure that the trails in our area are of the kind of quality that people want to use and enjoy them. There are a few other best practices that didn't really merit having a whole chapter, but I wanted to mention those are the ones at the bottom here. If you have dysfunction in your community, you want to address that. It's hard to do good work if you have dysfunction simmering beneath the surface. You also want to work regionally. One community working on its own, doing this kind of trails and tourism work, it only gets you so far. You want to work with your neighboring communities. And then finally, don't rely primarily on trails. The presentation we saw earlier showed a number of different ways that this organization is working on revitalizing and preserving the heritage of this area. Trails and tourism are just one piece of that puzzle. Slide. So just a few photos here. Physically connecting the trail to town is one that people are always interested in. You do that with bike lanes. You do that with interesting art that draws people from the trail toward your community. You can do that with signage. You just have to find ways to draw people in. Slide. Extending the invitation. This is like the fun stuff of trail towns, and this is the fun stuff of community revitalization. Not that signs are so much fun, but our signs do help us to welcome people into our places and to give them the direction that they need. Again, art, sidewalk chalk. This is in Connellsville along the Great Allegheny Passage. A high school student did this. We spent $75 to have her go out on a Saturday and to do this really wonderful welcoming globe. I didn't realize globes would become like a part of this presentation until I just looked at that again. But you don't have to pay an artist to go out. You can send a group of kids out and welcome people. Make people feel welcome to your place. And art, by the way, is a vibrancy indicator. People coming through a community, and if they see art, they sense something is happening here in this place. More important than visitors sensing it, your local residents are sensing it and feeling it. Slide. You want to share your story. Does anyone know the photo on the left? That's in Petroleum Center. Yeah, and this gentleman was, sharing a bit of the community story whenever I passed through. And the photo on the right is of an itinerary that I wrote for this area maybe about 5 years ago for a client. And I just wanted to read the first sentence of this itinerary. It says, easily accessible from Erie, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, these trails blend lush woodlands, remarkable histories, friendly towns, craft breweries, and a regional delight, ham loaf. I was really into ham loaf whenever I was making my early visits up here. Slide. And then one of those other practices, and I'm just pulling out and highlighting a few of the many practices that I showed you earlier, but again, this one is to cultivate a trail culture. And I show this slide all around the country. A lot of you probably know this business in Franklin, and when people ask me, how do you know you've achieved a trail culture? And I say it's when you have a storefront like this one. Whenever the woman who owns the local yarn shop decides to put a yarn bike in her window display, and it's not just the bike, there are trail brochures, there's a pair of tennis shoes, there's a sign pointing to the bike trail. She has no business reason to do that, but she is a part of the culture of the community that appreciates and is celebrating trails here. Slide. So, to wind down, getting back to the title of this talk, which is Permission to Thrive. Does any one person, community, or region need permission to thrive or to do well? Of course not. But we are a complicated species. Fear of success is a very real thing, which really is the fear of maintaining success. For example, and success-induced guilt is real as well. If you are succeeding and doing well when people in other places around you may not be, those feelings can creep in as well. And so, for example, why is it that it was fairly easy for me to tell you at this beginning of this presentation that I claimed unemployment last year while so many people were struggling? But it's not as easy for me to say that in the time since I've had my very best year in business. It's been a good year for me. And those kind of things can be hard to share whenever, for so many others, it's been a terrible year. I am primarily grateful, but feelings of guilt occasionally creep in. And this reminds me of Brené Brown's take on joy. And I will connect joy to thriving, don't worry. If you aren't familiar with Brown, she writes and speaks about topics like authenticity, vulnerability, and the importance of human connection. And in her book, Braving the Wilderness, she writes about joy. She talks about people who can straddle the tension of staying awake to the struggle in the world while also cultivating their own moments of joy. She asks, how can I play on this gorgeous beach with my family while there are people who have no home or safety? And then she talks about the joy that she experienced while she was making cupcakes for her son's birthday. And she wondered, what difference do these stupid cupcakes make when other children are suffering? What she concludes is that they matter because joy matters. She writes, we can't fight for what's not in our hearts. It's the same with thriving. If we want to see the world around us thrive, we have to start at home. We have to allow ourselves success, prosperity, positivity, and yes, even joy. I don't have to tell you what a difficult year this has been at the global level, and for a lot of people right here at home. Even so, the oil region can pursue community vitality and resilience. Slide, please. This is just the definition for thriving. The primary definition is to prosper or flourish, and the other is to grow or develop well or vigorously. So how do communities grow or develop well? One way is to set out to be a vital and resilient place. Slide. And I mean, I can't tell you if your places have community vitality or resilience. Only you can answer those questions, but some of the characteristics are that they are communities that are able to sustain themselves. They're able to solve problems. They create environments in which residents can experience positive life outcomes, and they adapt and they transform. This past 18 months has been a time of needing to adapt and transform. I talked about the world having been turned upside down. Well, we are here in the valley that changed the world. So I believe that you are able to handle any of the changes and challenges that come your way. Next slide. Another way of thinking about strong communities, vital communities, is there's a program called Community Heart and Soul that goes into communities around the country, and I don't represent that program or anything, but I like the way they think about community change. To them, it's a resident-driven process that engages a town's entire population in identifying what they love most about their community, what future they want for it, and how to achieve it. And these are their tenets. Involve everyone, focus on what matters, and play the long game. Slide. Speaking of involving everyone, involve artists, involve youth, involve everyone, unexpected partners. By the way, I just coincidentally have interacted this year with two artists who moved to Oil City this year and reached out to me just to talk with me about trails and community development. Matthew Brew is one of them, and Marcy Hull is the other. So you have a lot of people who are deciding to, put down roots in this area and invest in this area. So I think that really brings me to the end. I might have one more slide. So this is in Franklin, one lovely foggy morning that I was here a couple of years ago. And I want to remind you that it only takes 120 minutes outside to reap the benefits, the health and wellness benefits of nature. So I hope that today is Thursday. I hope that tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, you have a chance to get out there and enjoy your lovely area. Next slide. Thank you very much. Please connect with me on my website and social media, and it's been a real honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Dan, for helping Amy. if I can find my right notes. Oh. No, you're good. Okay, thanks. Thanks, boss. Okay, now for some more fun things. We did the first annual Tourism Awards, and now I'd like to, and I know a lot of folks are wondering about the winners of those awards, and so I'll ask Miss Emily Altemeyer to come up and present the Tourism Awards and tell you a little bit about the program. Please welcome her.
Thank you, John. There's a lot of microphones up here. And I'm rusty. Thank you, Barry. Barry just said I don't look rusty. There's a much longer story we could go into on that. Are both of these on? Either of these on? You guys can hear. It's a small group. We're close. Okay. Good morning. As John said, this year we had our first ever Tourism Awards. As the designated tourism and marketing organization for Venango County and that little bit of Crawford County that we sneak into with the National Heritage Area, we are responsible for promoting tourism, but given all of the difficulties over the last couple of years, it seemed like a good time to try something new, to get people excited about tourism and the best of the best we have to offer here in the oil region, and to celebrate all of the entities who are doing great things and creating letters to the editor worthy attractions in our region. So we decided to kick off the Tourism Awards during May Travel and Tourism, National Travel and Tourism Week, which takes place every May. We came up with 8 categories, and we had the public nominate their favorites. And then between June, July, and August, we had online voting within those categories. And we now have, with more than 1,000 votes over the course of those 3 months, selected winners in all 8 categories. Some of them are represented here today, some are not, but we'll run through all the nominees and the winners, and those winners who are with us will come up. We've got a little certificate and a little sign that they can display in their business, so hopefully they can help promote that they are a 2021 Tourism Award winner and get everybody looking forward to participating in the 2022 Tourism Awards. So the first category is for Best Dish. And unfortunately, ham loaf wasn't nominated, but I will say, Amy, that in the ORA, we frequently have ham loaf at our office celebrations, and Kim has formed ham loaf into both a turkey and a rabbit for Thanksgiving and Easter celebrations. So maybe 2022 is the year for ham loaf. The nominees were the Dill Pickle Pizza from Trails to Ales in Franklin, Trail Bros Burger from Trails to Ales in Franklin, Fried Shrimp Taco from Taco Shack in Oil City, the Nashville Hot Fried Chicken Sandwich from Curbside Street Co. in Titusville, the Smash Burger from Curbside Street Co. in Titusville, the Pecan Crusted Chicken from Bella Cucina in Franklin, the Wild Mushroom Pizza from Trails to Ales in Franklin, the Shrubin Sandwich from Trails to Ales in Franklin, the Italian Sub from Villa Italia Restaurant in Oil City, Fettuccine Alfredo from Leonardo's in Franklin, the Flatiron Steak from Fat Chad's in Titusville, Eggplant Parmesan from Maria's in Titusville, the Rise and Shine Breakfast from Sam's Restaurant in Titusville, and the Chicken Parmesan Sub from Bud's Pizza in Oil City. I feel like we should have drum rolls or something, but we don't. So I will just tell you, I like that there's drumming in the back. The winner of the best dish in the oil region is the Italian Sub from Villa Italia Restaurant in Oil City. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's anyone here to receive that award. But it's good that we all had a healthy, hearty breakfast here from Cross Creek, so we're not too hungry as we talk about food and move on to best drink. So the nominees here were the iced latte from Karma Coffee in Oil City, the Holiday Cookie IPA from Circus Tavern in Oil City, the Rasmanian Devil from Trails to Ales in Franklin, the Smoked Old Fashioned at Trails to Ales in Franklin, the Peanut Butter Milkshake from Villa Italia Restaurant in Oil City, and coffee from Sam's Restaurant in Titusville. So you see there's a wide variety of alcoholic, non-alcoholic, caffeinated drinks, but the winner for this category of best drink goes to the Peanut Butter Milkshake from Villa Italia Restaurant in Oil City. You can have all the alcohol and caffeine you want, but you can't beat peanut butter in a milkshake. I haven't had this yet, and I need to go. So hopefully this also helps all of you to want to investigate these winners and check them out if you're not already familiar. Going to skip forward one step and read you the nominees for Best Shop. So this was meant to be recognizing the best retail space, and we've got a lot of great options. Stonehouse Jack in Titusville, Core Goods in Oil City, the Olive Vault in Franklin, Callie Ray's Hot Spot in Franklin, the Printer's Cabinet and Curiosities in Franklin, Something Clever in Franklin, Liberty Street Antiques in Franklin, Chrisman's Little Britches in Franklin. There's a Franklin theme. There is a lot of retail, as we know, but there's also Amy's Closet in Emlenton, Titusville Market Square in Titusville, and Cross & Co. Boutique in Seneca. And the winner for Best Shop is Cross & Co. Boutique in Seneca. And again, I don't believe there's anyone here to accept that award. So we'll move on to Best Guest Room. This is for the best lodging establishment in the oil region. Again, always looking for people to come in from outside and spend the night in our county. Bring in those hotel tax dollars that a lot of you know are so important. And so the nominees are the Caboose Motel in Titusville, the Crawford Suite at the Barnard House Bed and Breakfast in Emlenton, and Peddlers and Paddlers Inn in Franklin. And the winner of Best Guest Room for the oil region is the Caboose Motel in Titusville. And since Barb Ives serves on the Caboose Motel board, I have asked her if she would please come forward to receive the certificate for Caboose Motel and also a little sign that says Best Room. So hopefully you can hang that somewhere in a point of pride and let everyone know that you are our inaugural winner in that category.
I will. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Barb.
I will. On my way home, I'm actually the president of the board of directors, so it works out well. I've been on that board since its inception when the cars were still over at Molly's Mill, so it's a passion project for me. We were very happy last year that we made it through. We got to advertise that we were separate tin cans and you couldn't get COVID because you weren't walking down the hall by anybody. And and this year has been outstanding. We can't keep up. We've had to hire extra people. It's been wonderful. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well deserved.
Moving on to the next category is Best Advocate. This was designed to celebrate individual people who do a lot to promote the region, whether it's within their job, their volunteerism, their just personal life, and all the times that they like and share and spread the word and tell people, you need to get tickets to this event, or you need to try this restaurant, or this is the place to stay, or this is where you get on that trail to get to the waterfall. All that kind of activity is really important. There aren't enough of us to be able to get the word out every day, so it's great to have a whole community of advocates. We have 4 nominees this year, and hopefully we'll have even more next year as you all continue to advocate for the oil region, not just in tourism, but in general. So the nominees are Ashley Zakari Smith, Diane Harrison, Leah Carter, and Kim Harris. And the winner is Ashley Zakari Smith. So Ashley, I don't know where you want to hang your sign. You're welcome to wear it if you like, but I'll give you your certificate and your sign and let you say a few words.
Because I'm not a great speaker, I wrote down some things. It's beyond words how grateful I am to be recognized by the Oil Region Alliance for the Best Industry Advocate Tourism Award. I'll be brief, I promise. First of all, I want to thank Diane Harrison, Leah Carter, and Kim Harris for their dedication to the region's history and the future success of our wonderful region. To my coworkers, thank you for showing me kindness and providing me with years of emotional support. Gosh, I'm sorry. I'm just so happy. Years of emotional support. Whew. Yeah. Yeah, I can't even read this through tears. We got this. Yeah, all the education and inspiration they've shown me throughout the years. I really appreciate all the help and mentorship they have given me, and they each deserve special thanks for helping me feel confident and proud of myself and proud of my love for this region. It's been such a blessing for me to have a husband like Jake. For over a decade together, Jake has trusted me and gone out of his way, supporting my future by loving and living in our community together. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the Oil Region Alliance for offering recognition to advocates like me. It's a wonderful feeling to be acknowledged. I believe the future of our area it depends. I mean, I believe the future depends on what we're doing in the present. And looking around this room, I feel like the future is very bright, and it makes me feel very hopeful. So I'm humbled and appreciative. Close. Thank you.
My goodness, Ashley, we probably should have saved you for last. That was such a passionate and inspirational speech, and that's exactly why you were nominated and chosen for this award. And this was all public voting, but still, it's clear that people recognize your passion and support of the region, and you're absolutely right. There's great nominees in this category. I know there are a lot more people we can add to this list. But it's so wonderful that we have people like you here who feel this way. And you're right. Thank you, Diane and Leah and Kim, too, because there's a lot more people we can add next year. Next, we'll move on to industry partner. And while advocate was more for an individual, industry partner was to recognize an organization that helps support tourism and, again, just general recognition of the region and all its wonder. So our nominees are the Be Here program from the Venango Chamber of Commerce, Friends of the Railroad, and the Oil City Main Street program. And the winner is Be Here. And since Ashley Sheffer runs that program, we'll have her come forward to accept her award and her sign too. Ashley has a window office, so I think that might be the perfect place to hang your sign. But thank you.
Well, I did not prepare anything, but we all know the last 2 years, almost 2 years, were pretty hard. So it's been fun to run this program where we get people to be positive and to come together and to really, even when things are hard, come together and know that we're all a community and all take as a whole community. So Be Here, we say, is about changing the narrative. And the 3 years that almost 4 years we've done this program, it's amazing to see the progress we've made, and there's still always work to be done, but I appreciate the recognition of this, and we hope that you all continue to be here. Thank you.
I love that. And we're so lucky, again, to have so many people, so many organizations all rowing in the same way, and that is to promote the oil region. Our next category is best must-do activity. We explain this as the thing that you tell people when you know they're coming in from out of town or you run into someone who's visiting from another place, the thing that you gotta do while you're visiting the oil region. So our nominees are the Oil Creek and Titusville Railroad, A Bite of History food tours in Franklin, the Barnard House Bed and Breakfast in Emlenton, Bridge Fest in Oil City during August, the Tiffany Window Tours at St. John's Episcopal Church in Franklin, DeBent's Antique Music World in Franklin, the Venango Museum of Art, Science, and Industry in Oil City, Kayaking with Oars in Franklin, Unlock the Adventure Escape Experience in Titusville, the Oil Creek State Park, Drakewell Museum and Park, the bike trails throughout the region, and the Oil Valley Film Festival in Oil City. And while there was a lot to choose from and this was a pretty tight race, the winner for best must-do activity is the bike trails. So here to accept for all of the bike trails is Kim Harris.
Everybody knows there's a lot of bicycles here in the region, and all of them are gorgeous. So I'm going to make sure and try to get Emily to make me some extras of these so I can take them around and give them to all the different managing organizations so that they can put them up. I have the easy job. I get to work with them. I get to help and support them. I'm not the one out there trying to figure out what needs to be fixed and when it needs to be fixed. I'm more that support as to, okay, it needs to be fixed. Let's find some money to do it. Let's complete the gap that's there. So if you haven't been out on our trails, I say get out there. You don't need a bicycle. Walk. Get your skates on. Whatever. Just get out there. We have lots of close access areas that you don't have to go far. But as Amy said, all of our communities are really embracing the bike trails, and it's just so nice to see. I can remember working on the bike trails back in the dark ages in my back office where it was like the ugly stepchild of anything when you were putting money into trails, and it's so nice now that it's brought up to a level where it's part of the solution for economics, but also for the health and that. So I will share these, and Emily, if I can get more of these, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
We're seeing a lot of good synergy, right? And tie-in with trails presentations and bike trails winning an award. Our last category is Best Landmark, last but not least. And the nominees are Drakewell Museum and Park in Titusville, the Driller Monument at Woodlawn Cemetery in Titusville, the Belmar Bridge on the Allegheny River, the Civil War, World War I and World War II, Korean and Vietnam Veterans Memorials monuments near the Venango County Courthouse in Franklin, the Venango County Courthouse courtrooms 1, 2, and 3 with the Deek Mung murals of riding into Fort Michaud, looking for Franklin, and the Drake Well. Freedom Falls in Kennerdale, Kennerdale Overlook in Kennerdale, Murray Scenic Overlook in Oil City, the National Transit Building in Oil City, and the Heisman Monument in Titusville. And the winner of Best Landmark for the 2021 Oil Region Awards goes to Drakewell Museum and Park. And here to accept for Drakewell is Erin Winsick, and she's bringing Bill Stump, an excellent storyteller. We might be in for a real treat.
So thank you for this wonderful award for Drakewell Museum and Park. I've brought Bill up here with us. Bill is our replica operator at Drakewell, and since I've only been there for a few months, I just wanted to make sure that we thank him for his work, because really, when you come to Drakewell Museum and Park, you're coming to see the replica and to hear the stories from this gentleman right here. If you've ever experienced Bill in the landmark, he is just incredible. He makes every single tourist feel recognized. You walk away knowing that there is petroleum in something you have on. And he is Drakewell in a lot of ways to me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I also want to thank our board. Emily serves on our board, and our Carol and Clark Hull are both lifetime members of Drakewell, as well as Vicki, who just left. She is our museum store operator. So the team at Drakewell is incredible. We are currently going to be searching for a new site administrator. So if you know anyone who is a historian at heart and a site administrator by trade, please send them our way. We'll really be looking to move the well ahead in a positive direction. So, Bill, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Let me tell you a story.
Oh, yay.
This may be the first category ever to involve a liar. But I am grateful. I've been at Drakewell for 15 years now. We meet people from all over the world who recognize Drakewell as the origin of the oil industry. And it's very difficult convincing people from Texas that it did not start down in Texas. It started right here. I love the stories. I love the people. I love working at Drakewell. And we are a family down there, very, very close-knit family. And if you've never been to Drakewell, how many of you have never been to Drakewell? Very ashamedly, I see a few hands. And the rest of you aren't going to raise your hand because you don't want to be recognized. It's amazing how many people don't know what is available in this region. This is a gem. This is a real gem with all the organizations. And I and Drakewell are very, very proud to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. I'll remind the winners that we'd like to get everyone gathered for some photos after all of our activities are done here this morning. But again, if you haven't tried any of these places, these foods, these activities, make sure you're getting out, checking them out, become familiar. You too can be our best advocate for the oil region. And please stay tuned for nominations and voting for the 2022 awards. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily. Very, very good work. I tell you, it's nice and it's very moving to see folks that get appreciated for their hard work and advocacy. Because there's so many out there, but it's very difficult to choose just one. But the popular vote is the popular vote, and it was very fair. So we'll see some more categories next year. Next on the agenda is something that is a very close, the next two awards are close to our hearts at the ORA, and they're very difficult. They are, they're always a challenge because we have, especially this one, our partners, and you may get exhausted when I talk about our partners, but they're so vital to us. We cannot do what we do at the ORA without them, and it's always difficult to choose one. But I think we have a very special one, and I won't steal her thunder, but I would like to ask Kim Harris to come up and talk about basically one of our newer partnerships. So Kim, please welcome.
So just to ditto what John said, we can't do anything without our partnerships, so thank you all for being partners with us. Prior to 2021 setting in, I think we discussed it around 2019, that we would like to try to do some type of unique partnership that would help to educate visitors and our locals as to what we have here in the region. And as our vice president would often say, there he is, you've got to include puppies. And if you know the Oil Region Alliance staff, we're always after John, can we have a puppy? Can we have a cat? And most recently, could we have a goat? For our office, we need that, you know, so when we're real stressed, we can pet this animal and decompress and such. But we talked amongst ourselves, and we decided that we wanted to reach out to the animal rescues within the region to see if any of them would be willing to partner with us. Well, then we got shut down. So one of the first things when we came back to the office was the conversation again at lunchtime. I said, hey, what about our idea? Can we run forward with that? So we did. We contacted both Precious Paws and the Venango County Humane Society and came up with the idea of taking some of the adoptable animals out to different areas in the region and taking their pictures and then getting it out on social media. It became a win-win type situation. We were helping to get our word out as to all these unique places we're hearing about today within our region, but also these wonderful animals that really needed a home. So I'm just tickled to be able to say this is a huge success. We're getting through the Oil Region Alliance. I'll let the other agencies speak on their own, but we're getting very, very good comments on how people really like how we've brought the two entities, three, I guess, together to work on this. So if I could introduce for Partner of the Year, Venango County Humane Society, Dan Pritchard. And is anyone here from Precious Paws? I haven't seen Teresa or Julie. Okay, so Dan, it's going to be all yours. So I'm just going to say, do we have a certificate here, John? I think we do have a certificate for them. And we appreciate you guys so much. I'm hoping it's as big a success for you folks as it is for us. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Have some folks come up. Let me grab this. That'll be all right.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the ability to partner with such a great organization. I can tell you as an annual participant in the Oil Creek 100, there is nothing more I look forward to than listening to the hit-miss motor that starts at Drake Well, because that at least tells me I've got about 50 miles in and I only have about 15 to 20 more to go. I'd like to know how far away I can actually hear that from so I know how much further I have to go. About 12 miles. See, I was pretty close with it. It only feels like 15 at that point in time. But certainly, I would like to thank first some staff members that I brought with me. The first three I brought with me to support me in case I had to speak. So the first one I have is Sam Hout. She's at the table with us. Katie Parsh and Bethany Rokovich. Bethany was instrumental in connecting with the oil region, and she's our director of marketing. So without her, none of this would be possible. And without our staff, we certainly could not do the things that we do. And since I have the whole time, I'll just take up Precious Paws time also. I sat back and I've thought a little bit about where did we start thinking about spaying and neutering animals? And I can remember being a little kid hearing Bob Barker on there constantly saying, spay and neuter your animals. And I thought, how important is that? And I often come across a statistic, especially when it comes to cats, dealing with the Oil City and Franklin areas, about the overpopulation of cats. In 2020, end of 2020, beginning of 2021, we've been very happy to be able to implement a neuter clinic for cats. We have 3 veterinarians that bring not only their own vet techs to the area to neuter cats for us. We did almost 200 cats last year. And a unique chart that I have found that I think is just, it blows my mind to look at these statistics. It talks about a unfixed male and female and their offspring. If they continue to proliferate for an average of 9 years, how many cats do you end up with? So in 1 year, that pair, and they use the number of just 3 cats surviving the litter. In 1 year, that becomes 12 cats. In 2 years, that's 67 cats. In 3 years, that's 376 cats. In 4 years, that's 2,107 cats. In 5 years, that's 11,801 cats. In 6 years, that's 66,088 cats. 7 years, 370,092 cats. In 8 years, that's 2,072,514 cats, and over the average lifespan of being just 9 years old, that's 11,606,077 cats. So when we talk about actually getting your cat spayed and neutered, there's the numbers that support that. That's one of the reasons that I'm very happy that we've been able to implement the neuter program. On average, I would say that we turn away about 10 cats a day, people trying to bring us cats that want to be dropped off. We cannot hold that number. We stay around between 60 and 80 cats at our facility on any given day. I have staff that want to take care of every single cat out there. It's just completely beyond our resources to do that. So that's why I have to put limits on things. I don't like doing that to staff. So it's very important that we promote that program that we have. It is a free neuter program. Our next one will be October 31st. We're set to do 50 cats. Again, that's out of the kindness of the hearts of the volunteers that are there. The Humane Society does pay for the drugs and the medicines that go into implementing that. Anybody that truly knows me knows that I'm actually a dog guy, and my staff knows that. But certainly, how can you ignore those numbers when it comes to taking care of our cats, if that's part of our mission statement? On the dog side, 2020 was an amazing year for adoptions for us. We had the ability to reach out to other rescue organizations. We typically started with ones in our region and branched out. We branched out as far as Tennessee. Katie, can you tell me how many we took in Tennessee? I'm sorry, the numbers.
16 on our first transport, because we were trying to figure out how could we meet, how could we get them, and she said, if you'll take 15, I'll drive them there and see them myself. I said, okay, we got room, we only had 4 dogs at the time. And then we brought in another 10, and then another 8.
Very. So that was the first time the Humane Society was able to do that. After that incident, we got through those. We were, again, back down to only 2 or 3 dogs in facility, and we were able to reach out to Erie's Anna Shelter, and we brought in how many the second time? Just 5. 5 dogs on a day that they had taken in, I think 11 or 12 dogs on that same day out there. So 5 actually made a pretty big help for them. We did this all even though during COVID, the amount the state was able to allocate for us was slashed. It went from $45 a dog that was brought in. So if a police department picked up a stray dog, the state used to reimburse us $45 for that dog. I can tell you that doesn't even come close to the cost it takes to support that dog. But $45 is $45, and we were happy to have it. It slashed to $5 a dog. So that was almost an insult to the dog itself, to being brought in and taking care of that. But we were able to raise funds, even though during the pandemic, bingo is one of our biggest fundraising events. Obviously, during the pandemic, we could not do that, but through the kindness of community members and the support of things like the Oil Region Alliance, we were able to forge on and still be able to bring those numbers down to where they were. As we look forward to 2021, our numbers have went up a little bit. Everybody says, do you think these are dogs that people got during the pandemic and are just not able to have? I would say that that's not what we see. We see an aging population. We see a lot of people with sickness and injury that can't go on. They want to make sure that their animals are going to be properly taken care of. We are a no-kill shelter. We only kill for humane reasons, as the fact of medications or medical illness and so on and so forth. So that is the primary reason I'd say most people surrender. And moving, a population that moves around from one place to another and not being able to take their pet with them. So I would like to thank you again for allowing us to partner with you, and we hope that we continue.
Don't go anywhere.
Not going anywhere.
Okay.
That's why I brought...
You brought your staff?
Well, that's why I brought Tristan Dybert, who's a board member for me, so if I needed taken off the stage, she could be the one to do that.
No, you're fine. No, we have actually some citations that Senator Hutchison, Barb Ives from Congressman Thompson's office and Lee James, representative for the state of Pennsylvania, would like to present to you folks. So we'll let Barb go first. Are they up here, Barb? Okay.
Congratulations on behalf of Congressman Thompson, and thank you for all the work you do.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I think it's so appropriate that at the Oil Region Alliance, we are talking about partners, because that's the strength of this organization is their partnerships, the people they bring together to get things done. And obviously the Humane Society and Precious Paws are great partners in making our region a special place to live, work, and raise a family. So on behalf of the Senate of Pennsylvania, I do have a citation. I'll just read the final sentence, which says, "Now therefore the Senate of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania congratulates the Venango County Humane Society upon its richly deserved recognition and extends best wishes for a future replete with ever-increasing success." Thank you. Congratulations. It's great to have partners like the Venango County Humane Society.
Okay. One of them works. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. John and Board of Directors and so forth, thank you so much for doing this. It's inspirational. I appreciate it very much. I had a very short list of things I was going to mention that you do, but they've all been covered. I would say as we go forward, and you know I'm already all in on the trails situation, continue to work on broadband, please. We have a lot of people that can't or won't go back to an office, but they can work from home. It used to be just let's take care of our kids and their homework. Now it's for their parents as well. So I know that's high on your list, and Sam Breen, I know the commissioners are also focused on that too. And John, one other thing, a Chinese proverb, in chaos there is opportunity. So I echo the Senator's comments about the great works that you do here, and or in the ORA, I should say. And I want to thank the Humane Society for all its work and its willingness to work with the ORA. I too have a citation, and as I said earlier this week, the citation is not a parking ticket or a speeding ticket. It is an acknowledgement of excellent work on your behalf. Just a couple quick lines, if I may. Humane Society, founded in 1954 in Venango County, as means for prevention to cruelty to animals, and I have a little trouble reading this, through the dissemination of literature and other educational means to instruct and help people to be kind and considerate to animals. Now therefore the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania salutes the Venango County Humane Society upon its richly deserved recognition, offers best wishes for continued growth in the future, years to come. Thank you so much.
So I will make sure that I get Precious Paws their materials and citations for our elected officials. And I can say, when we kicked off this event, we did videos first, and then they went out and they took photos of the different four-legged friends, and I'm going to say friends because there were kitties that got outside too. But there was a shepherd that Precious Paws had brought in, and it had been in their care for about 4 months. It was very, very, very active. It was I believe a husky, if I'm not mistaken. but very, very active, and they were having a hard time finding the appropriate family because it was so hyper. Very nice, I have to say. I mean, loved the attention. The one lady who ended up adopting it, adopted it within 1 week after seeing the video on social media. So that kind of confirmed to us very quickly that what we were doing was probably going to work. So I'll turn this back over to the boss.
Thank you, Kim. The next award is always very important to us as well, because individuals and volunteerism as in a nonprofit, and all of our nonprofits, is always never enough. We always need more volunteers, and so acknowledging great volunteers is something that we take great pride in. And I'd like to ask Ms. Selena Petty, my Brownfield Coordinator and Blueprint Communities Coordinator, to come forward and present the Volunteer of the Year.
Thank you, John. And a recurring theme today has been technology not working, and that the resilience and ability to adapt of our communities is so dependent on our partnerships. The ability for our communities to not just deal with the world being turned on its head, but embrace the opportunities that arise from that, is completely and utterly dependent on the people in our communities and our willingness to work together. And I am so proud that we have individuals within our communities who selflessly give of themselves every day. And I'm extremely proud that the person chosen as Volunteer of the Year this year is someone I am fortunate enough to work with on an almost daily basis. Somebody who works with Precious Paws in one of their catch, spay, neuter, and release programs, who loves puppies and kittens almost as much as Dan, and who loves this region, who loves her community of Emlenton, who wants to see this area prosper and thrive, and who wants to provide the best possible future for her son, for the children of the entire community, and for all the furry creatures who share this beautiful environment with us. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our Volunteer of the Year, Ms. Sarah Reynolds from Emlenton, Pennsylvania.
I want to thank Selena for nominating me and everyone that voted. I wasn't going to say anything, but after everyone's little acceptance speeches, I felt I really needed to. I am from Emlenton. We just moved there probably 9 years ago. I quickly got involved in our community. We don't have a lot of volunteers, so I quickly, am head of a lot of things that go on in Emlenton, kind of by default, but I really do enjoy my community. I am proud and happy that I get the opportunity to do whatever I can to make it a better place for my son and Selena's children and all the people that live in Emlenton. And I'm just very humbled that I am being honored and awarded for that, and a little embarrassed, but thank you. Thank you for
I think we have some presentations and some citations. So did we lose Scott? Is he? Oh, he okay. Hey, Barb?
I swear next year I'll be doing high kicks. This is temporary.
Congratulations on behalf of the Congressman. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
I think Commissioner Breen is going to, or Lee James is going to present his, and then Sam can represent the senator. Please.
Hi, Sarah. Hi. How are you? Good. Feeling good today? Yes. Yep. Very good. Well, thank you for all you do. I know Emlenton is a little gem at the southern part of our fair county and figures prominently in the Trails campaign, and I appreciate everything that you're doing. This is a citation from the House of Representatives, and I'll just read the, excuse me, I'll just read the end part of it. Oh, the heck I will. I'll read the whole thing. Integral to, whereas integral to numerous projects in the southern portion of the Oil Region Heritage Area, Ms. Reynolds volunteers her time and talents with fundraising and community engagement for the Allegheny Clarion River Valley Region Blueprint Initiative. That's a mouthful. Thank you very much, and I know you're active in Summerfest as well. Therefore, the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania congratulates Sarah Reynolds upon her well-deserved recognition, proudly notes her exemplary record of service, and in keeping with the highest ideals of the Commonwealth, we congratulate you very much. The citation is signed by our Lee James State Representative and Brian Cutler, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. So there you are. Thank you. Yep.
Hi, Sarah. Hi. Senator Hutchinson had to leave for another engagement, so I have the honor. He asked me to present you with this. Congratulations from the Pennsylvania Senate. And I couldn't be prouder to give this one because as someone that's involved in the community, and all of us in here are involved in the community in so many different organizations that mean so much to our community and our county. None of the good things that any of these organizations can do can be done without volunteers like you, but especially, as all of us know that are involved in this stuff, usually it takes a super volunteer. Every one of these organizations that thrives has a super volunteer, and it seems to me that you are the super volunteer. So thank you very much. So on behalf of Senator Scott Hutchinson and the Pennsylvania Senate, this congratulations, it says, the Senate of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania congratulates Sarah Reynolds upon her richly deserved recognition, affirmatively states that she is a shining example of community spirit whose many contributions are worthy of deep gratitude and respect. And that a copy of this document, sponsored by Senator Scott E. Hutchinson, be transmitted to Sarah Reynolds, 624 Garden Street, Emlenton, Pennsylvania. And it's got the seal of the Senate of Pennsylvania and is signed by Senator Scott E. Hutchinson and President Pro Tempore of the State Senate, Jake Corman. So thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you very much. Betsy, where are you? Betsy is chairperson of our nominating committee, and Betsy, it's time for you to give your report. By the way, I am well aware of the fact that some of you have been seated here for more than 2 hours, and you may need a restroom. Okay, if you do, right to the back and to the left, there are 2 restrooms, and out into the lobby and to the left, there are restrooms. If you need to use them, please do. Betsy?
Thank you. I am the nominating committee this year for the Oil Region Alliance Board of Directors, and there are 3 people, myself as being to be reelected to a second 3-year term, and then we have 2 brand new people. The first one is Chad Ellis. Chad is a lifelong resident of Franklin, graduating from Franklin Area High School and also attended Clarion University of Pennsylvania and Dale Carnegie Systems. He's an active member of the Franklin Rotary Club, former president and board member of the General Authority of the City of Franklin, member of Franklin and Venango Chambers of Commerce, member of the Franklin YMCA, Adult Prom Committee volunteer, and we served together on the Cranberry Fireworks Committee. And he has served as a commercial account manager with Rossberger Insurance Group since April of 2015, played an integral part of the acquisition of the Williams Insurance Agency in Old City. He specializes in all aspects of commercial insurance, including workers' compensation, business auto, property, casualty, cyber protection, and commercial umbrella insurance. And he also works with personal clients to advise them on the proper coverage based on their individual needs. Our second candidate for a 3-year term, I guess she's our third one, is Ms. Stacy Gingle, founder of KJ Consulting and Environmental Services, LLC, in 2018 and serves as president of the company. She has worked with many clients throughout northwestern Pennsylvania, notably PennDOT, ORA, Port of Erie, and several municipalities. Ms. Gingle has been involved in the heavy highway industry for over 20 years, having begun her career as a field office manager for the bridge contractor on the high-profile project on the North Shore of Pittsburgh, eventually moving to the position of CMCI Regional Manager for a large A&E firm. She has received numerous certifications and accreditations throughout her career. Most notably, she has served as the president of Mid-Allegheny ASHE chapter and the National Board for ASHE. She continues to remain involved in the industry through her involvement with various organizations. So those are our 3 nominees for 3-year terms for the Board of Directors.
Okay, thank you very much, Betsy. As our bylaws require, I would now entertain many motions from the floor, or nominations, rather, from the floor. You cut the meeting by at least half an hour. Thank you very much. Then, hearing none, I would entertain one motion, and this is the motion, if someone is willing to articulate it, that nominations for the office be closed, that the written ballot be dispensed with, and that the secretary be instructed to cast unanimous ballot for those nominees as named by the nominating committee. Thank you very much, James. Let the record show that Jimmy Johnson makes the motion, that Janet Aaron makes the second. All in favor of the motion, please indicate with an aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the board. We couldn't do what we do, as I've said many times, without our volunteers, but at the end of the day, our major members really step forward and commit to the work that we do. And so right now, I would like to acknowledge the 2021 major members. And I believe that Amy has, we will have one of Amy's books for the major members. But also, more importantly, I was slipped a note by her that any book sales today, she will be donating the proceeds from any book sales to the Venango County Humane Society. So please purchase some books for gifts this year, and that would be great. So if I could have a representative from the city of Franklin, probably Jimmy Johnson. City of Oil City, I don't know if Mayor Moon had to leave. I believe he did. Did Hope show up? No. Debbie Sabina, could you come for Clarion University? And Sam for the County of Venango. I think I will acknowledge our other members. I think that's all we have with us today is Specialty Fabrication and Powder Coating, Rod Griffin. Komatsu is one of our major members. Greg Wilson is on our board. National Fuel Gas, PNC Bank, Cranberry Township, UPMC Northwest, Webco, Matrix, Central Electric Cooperative, Sandy Creek Township, and Heath Oil. These are all major members. Please acknowledge them with your appreciation. Thank you guys very much. Debbie, don't go anywhere. And we have a couple of board members that are are ending their terms as required by our bylaws, you can be elected to 2 consecutive 3-year terms of this organization, and then you must sit out a year. And our 2 outgoing members, Debbie Sabina from Clarion University, has been this is her, I believe, the tail end of her 4th term, and she sat off a year. So dedication to this organization for at least 12 years and maybe longer. And Rod Griffin, he couldn't join us today, but he is ending his 2nd term and will have to set off. But he did say that he would want to come back, so I must not be that bad. So please give Debbie a round of applause for her dedication to this organization. And Debbie gets to sport the brand new Oil Region National Heritage Area tote. I could model on some program, but I won't. It is filled with some goodies, so we do appreciate her and everything she does for us. Okay. Everything that I do and the team that I have that works for me, I couldn't do it without them. I want to ask my staff, would you please stand up, and when I call your names, and remain standing, and would everybody please appreciate the great work that my team does, and especially for today's event, which is a whole lot of chaos, and I'm probably the cause of most of it. For Emily Altamar, our communications and tourism manager, Jen Burden, our heritage program manager, Jessica Gorman is our administrative assistant, Kim Harris is our project manager and our outdoor recreation specialist, Dan Twombly, my very capable executive vice president, Selena Petty, our redevelopment manager, and Allegheny Clarion River Valley Blueprint Community Coordinator. You ought to fit that on a business card. And then, of course, our newest, Abby Watson-Popescu. I don't think she could join us today. And Chris Clifton, she is not with us. And she did make it a note that this was the first annual meeting she's missed in 28 years. So I guess Disney won out. So, and then, of course, I can't forget our Oil City Main Street personnel. They are so dedicated. Kathy Bailey could not join us today. And then, of course, Stu Armstrong is our artist liaison and marketing coordinator. So please give all of those folks a very big round of applause. And I hope I did not forget any of my staff, because that would be bad. No. I also want to say, and I think they deserve a very big round of applause, our good friends here at Cross Creek Resort. Would you please give them a round of applause for the wonderful breakfast? And I call him my personal paparazzi, Mr. Luke Rio in the back. He is filming this, and we'll air it on his media and ours. And then, of course, please give her one more round of applause, Miss Amy Camp, for a fantastic presentation. And I would ask all of our winners, please stay after the awards, and so that we can get a good picture. And then I would like to ask our chairman to come back up and end our meeting.
Thank you very much, John. Excellent meeting, John. Thank you very much. Just very simply, as many of you have noted, it has been a year of challenge for all of us. It is not part of the American spirit in the face of challenge to give way to despair. I hope you can see that it's not part of the culture of this organization to give way to despair. You've heard me say it before, but let me say it again. Success is never final. Defeat is never fatal. It's courage that counts, and I hope you see that we are people of courage. With that, I declare this meeting, the 16th annual meeting of the Oil Region Alliance of Business, Industry, and Tourism, officially adjourned. Thank you very much.